Hello. Hey guys, it's Kimmy from Notary Life with Kimmy. Well, hey, today's video is coming to you because in our Facebook group, which is Notary Educators, if you are not a member, I highly encourage you to join. Completely free. You do not have to have taken any of our classes or any obligation period. But a person put in there, what are some common documents that are apostilled? So I was like, you know what? I don't think I've ever seen a video about that. So guess what? I'm going to do a video about it. So let's talk about the apostille process first of all, for those of you who are slightly new at this and don't know anything about it. An apostille is a large gold seal that goes on top of your document, and it's an extra layer of authentication that's needed prior to the document leaving the United States, going to another country. There are two different processes that's involved. If the country is a Hague country, which means they're part of an agreement with the United States, that once that higher level is done, our document can go over there, okay? There's another process called the non-Hague, and non-Hague is a country that is not part of the agreement. So that particular authentication has several layers to it. So we're not going to get into the processing today. I have several other videos that you can check out about the apostille. I think this might be like my fourth one. I'm really not sure, but I have a series of videos about apostille. So let's get right into it. Okay, so some common documents that you may find that need to be apostilled are the birth certificate. Well, that's self-explanatory, so I won't get into that, right? So a birth certificate, though, prior to leaving the United States, going to another country, to prove that it's a real birth certificate, needs to have an apostille put on it. Now, why would you say that an apostille is needed, right? Well, first of all, you and I, in today's modern world, we can just type up a birth certificate and send it somewhere, say that it's legitimate. But the other country is like, nah, it's too much fraud going on. I need somebody over there besides Kimberly to tell me that this is a real birth certificate. That's why it has to be apostille, right? So birth certificate is one of those vital records that is never notarized. Never notarized. It only needs an apostille. Some documents will need to be notarized and then apostilled, but a birth certificate is what's called a vital record. It is never notarized. You cannot certify a copy of it. It has to be the original. Now, just another little side tip here. This is going to be a lengthy video, guys, so get your notepad out. Get ready if you're serious about doing apostilles, because this is all the gems right here. Now, when it comes to the birth certificate, if the client has an original, which you'll need to have it apostilled, you need to recommend that your client goes to Vital Check and order a copy for themselves prior to you having their document apostilled, because once it's apostilled and the higher level of authentication is put on top of it, the client cannot pull it apart. They cannot photocopy it. Nothing else can be done with it for their use. Now it's actually like, just say, the government record. Nothing can be done with it. So that's one document, is the birth certificate. The next one we have is the federal background check. So someone's going to work or do something over in another country. Our United States has pulled their background and say, hey, I've checked this, I've checked this, I've checked that. That person is golden. So now the other country, again, in order to believe that this is a real record, the document has a higher level of authentication, which is the apostille. Federal background check, again, is something you would never notarize. It only needs to be apostilled, not notarized. So that's a common document. People have to have their background checked over here in the United States, and now it's getting ready to go to another country. Let's keep going. A marriage certificate. Someone has gotten married here in the United States. I'm gonna say this part again. You can cut. I'll let you just do a little cutting. Someone has gotten married here in the United States, and now they're going out the country. So to prove that that wedding actually happened, the marriage certificate has to be apostilled. Again, you could just print one online and say, I'm married to John Smith, right? And it's fake. But so the other country knows that it's not fake. It needs to be apostilled. Marriage certificate is another one of those that you would never notarize. That is a legal recordable document. That means it's recorded at the courthouse. So you cannot make a photocopy and just stamp it and notarize it and then have it apostille. It has to be an original. Divorce decree is another common document. Again, it's just simply that. Me and someone has gotten divorced. Now they need a copy of the divorce decree. Maybe the person wants to get married over in Spain. You have to prove that you're divorced over here first. You can't just go over there and say, oh, I'm divorced and marry someone else. You need proof. And again, instead of me just printing off some divorce documents that may be fake or fraudulent, they want someone over here saying, nope, wrong. I need to make sure that's a legitimate document. Thus the reason why it needs to be apostille. Someone from a higher level is saying, yeah, that's a real document. I hope you're understanding this now. It's making sense, right? So let's keep going. A few more. Power of attorneys. Why would someone need a power of attorney apostille to go to another country? Perhaps the person has inherited property. That's the one I see most often. So someone over here has a long lost relative over in Jamaica or wherever, and now the document, hold on. Someone over here has a property over in Jamaica or another country, and they're not able to fly over to Jamaica to handle their affairs over there. So instead, they send a power of attorney saying that, hey, I, Kimberly, am giving my cousin, Lupe, permission to handle my information over here in the other country, right? So again, instead of just having some fake willy-nilly papers floating around, a higher level of government has to say, yes, this is a real power of attorney. And how they're going to do that? They're going to verify the notary, or they're going to verify whoever signed the power of attorney. So that's a whole nother topic, but I just want you to be aware, right, that a power of attorney is a common document that people will call you and say, hey, I need to get this apostille. They could be selling a property, inherited a property. It could be any number of reasons why they cannot physically go to the country to handle their business. So now they're going to have a power of attorney completed, send it over there so their cousin or whoever can act on their behalf. Okay, moving on. Child travel consent forms. Same premise. I could just fill out the form and say, yes, I'm traveling with my child and we're going over to Africa. But the father has said no. So I fraudulently fill out documents and say, yes, he said I can take my daughter with me. Well, no, the government over in Africa wants proof that that is a legitimate document. So again, that's why the travel consent form, child travel consent form, has to be apostille. They're looking for a higher level of authentication. Another form that you will see out there is the transportation of deceased. So someone dies over in another country. You want the body back. You got to prove that you are the relative. There's a form for that. There's all kind of forms. That's why you guys always hear me say, don't learn forms, because there's going to be all kind of forms out there. You just have to be a great notary. Okay. If you need help with that, that's notaryeducatorsllc.com. Again, notaryeducatorsllc.com. But I digress. So anyway, so with this particular form, transportation of deceased, it could also work the reverse. Maybe you had someone over here in the United States that died, and now you want to take the ashes over to another country. That also needs to be apostille. So these are some common forms that you will hear people saying, hey, I need to get this form apostille. So now it won't be strange to you. College transcripts have to be apostille. So again, someone went to college over here in the United States. Now they want to take that back and have it recorded in their new country or their original country. I did complete school over there. Well, we all know what happened with some fraudulent stuff with schools recently, right? In colleges. So instead of me just printing out a college transcript saying, oh, I'm a doctor, I'm a PhD and whatever. No, it has to be authenticated by a higher level person, and then it can go to the country. You see the common thread here? So I'm taking the boogeyman out of the documents when it comes to apostille. Don't worry about what kind of document it is. You do need to know for processing, but after today, you'll at least hear some common words. So when your phone rings, you don't have to be terrified. So the next document we're going to talk about is an invitation letter visa. Now, what is that? The person wants to come to the United States, or they're traveling somewhere else. The government wants to find out, why are you traveling? Why? It needs to make sense. So once you fill out this form, that needs to be apostille. Now they say, oh, okay, she's traveling over there because she's getting married, or oh, she's traveling over there for schooling. It needs to make sense. So again, you can't just go to the internet and print something. They want to make sure it's authentic. Interesting, right? All this document, all these papers, all this stuff, right? So I got a few more for you, and then I'm gonna let you go. Evaluation of foreign education credentials. What is that? Well, that's someone that's went to school over here. Now, again, they're going back over your credentialing. We kind of talked about this one earlier with school transcripts, but they want to confirm that you are a medical doctor over here in the United States. So instead of me just printing it up, I used that illustration earlier, there's an actual form for that. So you see, it's one called the college transcript, and then you have the evaluation of foreign education credentials. So those are two different forms, but they sound similar. The last one that you're going to see most common, and I have done a couple of these, is the no record of marriage certificate or single person affidavit. Now, the single person affidavit is just that. It's saying that you are single. You don't have a spouse somewhere else. You don't have a husband or a wife in the United States, but you're getting ready to go over to a destination wedding in Jamaica. Right? They trying to stop that fraud. You ain't going to the Bahamas and get married and you got 5 wives over here. That's exaggeration. But the point is, that's a real form. So the single person affidavit is another form. So that one is notarized here in my state. You'll check your state, but that's just a notarized document. And then that needs to be apostille. So again, it can't even just be me and the person. I could be in cahoots with the person, right? And I say, yeah, John is not married no more, so I'm just filling out something. No, before it goes over to Jamaica or wherever he's trying to get married, they got to confirm that I'm a real notary. They're going to confirm. So how are they confirming I'm a real notary? You have to sign, when you're notarizing a document that has to be apostille, you must sign it as the signature that you signed your application. So in my application, I put Kimberly Y. Nunnally, right? When I sign, I have to sign it exactly like that, because that's what they're confirming. If I just put KY, that's going to be rejected. It's going to cost my customer a whole lot of money. So we're not going to talk about processes today, because it's a lot to processing apostilles. It's not complicated, but it is a little work involved. So I have, like I said, other videos. So watch the whole playlist about apostilles. I wish you much success. These are just some of the common documents you will find out there. And again, this request came because of one of our fellow Facebookers, if that's a term. Don't forget, if you have not joined Notary Educators Facebook group, join it, because we drop gems in there all day long, guys. You don't have to be a member of anything to join our Facebook group. Also, I want to tell you about my newest course, which is General Notary Work. Don't be scared. It's not that complicated. And that course, I actually teach you how to do general notary work. Okay? Because a lot of people are frightened. I have all kind of notary signing agents out there terrified to go do general notary work. In the course, I teach you how to go to nursing homes, hospitals, jails, how to do field inspections, what type of equipment you need. It has sample scripts in there. So it's a very nice course, if I must say so myself, guys. So check it out. Everything that I'm talking about today is at notaryeducatorsllc.com. Well, it's been my pleasure as always. Much success, and don't be scared. It's not that complicated. Bye.